Hey folks, Matt Easton here, Scholar Gladiatore. So I've got a sort of review and a sort of product awareness video here. So this is a new concepts feather which is coming to you from the Red Dragon brand, which many of you will know comes out of the Night Shop and the HEMA shop in the UK. This is going to be available all over the world, but to begin with, it's being launched in the UK at a pretty affordable opening price as a sort of advanced prototype stage at £175 per feather, or if you buy a batch of 5, they work out at £150 per feather if you buy a batch of 5. So primarily, what is this? Well, it's a feather, okay? It's a longsword feather, but the key features of it are that it has a completely dismountable hilt, that it has an unscrewable pommel, and in the longer term there are going to be options for different crossguards, different pommels, perhaps even different grips as well. So it's dismountable, therefore easy to tighten up, and also you've got different hilt options. Also, if you damage a blade, you can get another blade for it without having to buy a whole new feather, this kind of thing. Other key features of this, apart from it's affordable and modular, is that it is a pretty light and nicely weighted, nicely balanced feather. Currently, the proportions of this are quite blade long and hilt relatively short for a feather, it has to be said. So it's a 40-inch blade, and as you can see, it's not a particularly overlong hilt. It is actually quite a hilt which is quite historically proportioned to lots of long swords. But a lot of people in HEMA are used to feathers with longer hilts than this. I know that the developers at the Night Shop and with the manufacturers are looking at maybe changing the proportions of this slightly. Maybe the blade will get slightly shorter, maybe it won't, and probably the hilt will get slightly longer. But there will be different options for, as I say, different types of crossguard and different types of pommel. But as it stands at the moment, it is a sword which actually feels pretty nice in the hand. It's relatively light and quick. It's quite nimble. Balance is fairly close to the hand, around the top of the shield there. And it's fairly narrow and has a good flex to it. You can see it flexes as it should in the second half of the blade. One thing specifically to mention is the tip. The tip is currently quite small and squared, and it is flared, okay, but it's not as flared as they want it to be. It's not completely where they want the product to be. So that is how the tip is at the moment. You would probably want to put something over this tip as it is. It's not really quite big enough for most club sparring or tournaments, but they are looking at ways of enlarging that tip without making the blade too floppy so that it meets those requirements. It is entirely manufactured in the European Union, which is a thing some people will like, the fit and finish seems pretty good. I will say there is a tiny bit of rattle in the crossguard. You can probably hear there, so full disclosure, I'm not just saying only positives. That is something which can potentially be remedied, because this is at a prototype stage, remedied. I know they're tweaking the design slightly of how the guard fits to the tang and the design of the tang, but it could be remedied on this model simply by tightening up that pommel. I actually haven't been able to dismount this. I haven't tried hugely hard, but I can't unscrew this by hand. It is pretty firmly in place. So despite the fact it is a screw-on pommel, screw-on construction, it doesn't seem to come unscrewed easily. And the thread goes into the pommel. There's no nut or hex nut or anything like that visible at the end. So there we go, a new product to be aware of. Going to be available through the Night Shop and the HEMA shop, the Red Dragon brand, and probably available in the United States and elsewhere, perhaps through other resellers as well who resell the Red Dragon brand. But really, there we go, a new feather to be aware of. Completely made in the EU, modular hilt. It's going to have hilt options and at a pretty affordable kind of entry price level. Might be very good, this offer, £175 for one, or they work out at £150 per feather if you get 5, or I believe more. So it could work out good club training weapons possibly. And they seem to tick quite a lot of the boxes at this advanced prototype stage already. And of course, because they are continually developing them, and this is a concept feather, they will be responding to feedback and changing the product and developing it further. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. Anyway, I hope that's been useful and interesting to you. See you again soon for another video. This is Scholar Gladiatore and Matt Easton signing off. Cheers, folks. Thanks for watching. We've got extra videos on Patreon. Please give our Facebook a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Cheers, folks.